Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain why and how intermittent fasting causes menopause weight gain. What? All right, I can already see all the hate comments coming in, but I got to tell you this because it's the truth. And over the last 25 years, I've been working with women over 50. That includes even in their 40s and 60s and 70s. I've seen that when you do intermittent fasting, when you do things like low carb and ketogenic diets, it often makes you gain weight and it makes things worse, or at the bare minimum, prevents you from losing weight. So why? Why does this happen? Well, first let me explain some couple case studies so you can see what I'm talking about. The first one is Marcia. When Marcia came to me, she was doing intermittent fasting and a ketogenic diet, and it caused her to gain weight. She actually looked worse than she had ever looked before. And when we added back carbs and added more meals, not less, you can see she lost weight very quickly. Another example is Mary. Mary was doing the same thing. Only 1 or 2 meals a day, low carb. Her body was just wrecked. Her metabolism was destroyed. We were able to reverse that and heal it. She was eating more meals through the day, more carbohydrates, and she lost over 20 pounds. And even Lisa, her and her husband were doing the old intermittent fasting thing and just couldn't believe that eating more would cause them to gain weight. And as soon as she did, you can see just how much weight, especially around her waist, that she lost, and her energy went through the roof. So what happens? Why menopause? Okay, well, if you didn't know this, your body changes through menopause. Now, to be totally honest, I don't recommend intermittent fasting or low carb diets for anyone. They really do wreck your body. They have a very high likelihood of wrecking your metabolism, damaging your thyroid, and I'm going to go over how all these things happen. But in menopause, and for women, it's even worse because you are more sensitive to stress as a woman. And in menopause, you're even more sensitive to stress. So what happens in menopause is, number one, your ovaries stop producing hormones, and now your adrenal glands have to produce those hormones. And guess what? If you're stressing your body all the time, I don't know, by not eating all day or whatever it is, that's really stressful on the body. And so what happens is your adrenal glands, well, they have to produce the stress hormones and they can't get to the other hormones. So that's not good. Your body also gets more sensitive. As we get older, all of our bodies get more sensitive. If you don't believe me, compare a 20-year-old to a 90-year-old. Okay, the 20-year-old's body can tolerate a lot more than the 90-year-old body. Well, I don't know, somewhere around 40 or 50 years old, you hit a tipping point where your body can't tolerate certain things anymore. And so doing something like intermittent fasting is not going to be good. It can have the opposite effect. And the other part about menopause is it's very easy to lose muscle. Okay, you really have to be cautious because if you're not eating enough, as we get older, the likelihood of us losing muscle goes up. And if you lose muscle, that's going to slow down your metabolism. We got a lot of things working against us. And this is why intermittent fasting can really be a problem. So we're going to go over 4 ways intermittent fasting does cause weight loss in menopause and what to do about these things. Okay, here we go. Number 1, cortisol goes up. When you're fasted, your cortisol goes up, plain and simple. It's just how it works. It's part of the body. When it starts going into a starvation mode, the blood sugar starts really dropping, your body releases cortisol. Now, cortisol is not a bad hormone so long as it's in the right range. But if it goes too high or if it's too low, that's going to stop you from burning fat. And in fact, when it goes too high, it actually causes you to burn muscle. No, we don't want to lose muscle. We don't want to lose muscle. So that's not good. The other thing, though, that cortisol does is that it has a negative impact on your thyroid. Now, it can impact it many different ways. It can impact your T4 levels, can reduce your T3 levels, or it can raise your reverse T3 levels, which most people don't get checked when they get the blood test. So if you reverse T3 levels go up, that's like having a hypothyroid. They negate or offset the T3. And so you don't want high reverse T3 levels. By the way, the thyroid has reverse T3 so that, like, if you're sick, let's say, and you have a fever, the body can raise that reverse T3 and lower the thyroid so you don't overheat, okay? But when you're cranking up the cortisol, it raises the reverse T3 as well. So this high cortisol is not good for burning fat, and it's definitely not good for your thyroid. And both of these things will cause you to gain weight, or at bare minimum prevent you from losing weight, and oftentimes will cause you to burn muscle, and that'll slow down your metabolism. So you don't want that. Now, eating enough, and specifically eating the right types of foods, will allow you to drop those cortisol levels back down because you need to nourish the body. We're all stressed, okay? And if we don't eat enough and we're fasting or doing low carb or whatever, one of the side effects is our cortisol goes up. So now we don't have what we need to manage the day-to-day stress. I don't know about you, but I'm stressed. I mean, we're all stressed. Come on. It's a stressful world right now. All right, so that's number one. Number two, your metabolism drops. Okay, when you fast, when you're not eating, you're doing this time-restricted eating, or holy cow, 1 meal a day, or low carb, I mean, this will lower your metabolism. What happens is, number one, if the cortisol goes up, we already talked about how it affects your thyroid, and if your thyroid struggles, that will drop your metabolism. Number two, if your body thinks it's not getting enough, if it thinks it's starving, it's going to lower its own metabolism. This is why calorie restriction is a bad idea. The body will keep adapting to it, and so then you have to eat less and less and less and less until you barely eat anything just to maintain your weight. Now, here's something else that you probably didn't know, which I find fascinating, okay? When your body thinks it's starving, it also releases an enzyme that makes it easy to store fat. Now, the reason it does this is simple. The body thinks, it can't tell if you're trying to lose weight or you're actually starving. It thinks, oh gosh, we're in trouble. And so what it wants to do is take whatever food comes in and save it for later. And the only place it can do that is by putting the food in your fat cells. So it releases an enzyme that makes it easy to do that. This is obviously not good. When you feed your body enough and you're feeding it frequently, it has the opposite effect. It's like drinking water. Okay, did you know if you don't drink enough water and you're dehydrated, your body actually holds water? Then when you're drinking more water, the body doesn't hold extra water. This is very fascinating. It's almost like an opposite. But see, the body, it's always trying to protect you. And so it can have these opposite compensations. You don't drink enough water, it holds more water. You don't eat enough food, it starts trying to store what you do eat as fat. And it lowers its own metabolism. This is not good. And fasting puts you in that environment. So I don't recommend it. Number three, fasting creates very unstable blood glucose or blood sugar. So what's happening is when you're not eating for whatever, 18 hours or 20 hours or whatever you're doing, your blood sugar is going to drop. Okay. Now that's one of the reasons that your cortisol goes up. But your blood sugar is going to drop. Now the body starts releasing certain hormones to bring it back up. Your body won't let your blood sugar go too low or you'll die. Okay. So it has these built-in protection, and it releases hormones to raise your blood sugar back up. But now you have a problem. See, because it's cranking these hormones to get your blood sugar back up. But then when you eat, now it goes too high. You create this blood sugar spike. So you end up creating these dips and spikes through the day. This is not good. This isn't good for weight loss. It's not good for your hormones. It's very stressful on the body. It accelerates the aging process. It's bad for your energy. It causes low energy. You want stable blood sugar. You do. Now, here's a little trick. You want stable blood sugar, but it needs to be in the right range, just like cortisol. Just like everything in the body. Blood sugar, if it's too high, that's bad. If it's too low, that's bad. Thyroid, if it's too high, that's bad. If it's too low, that's bad. Cholesterol, if it's too high, that's bad. If it's too low, that's... Everything in the body is like that. So when your blood sugar is too low, that's not good either. We got a new trend happening. People are getting these nice glucose monitors, and they're trying to keep their blood sugar really low. And then they're going, wait a minute, I'm still gaining weight, but I'm keeping my blood sugar low. What's going on? Lower is not better. Higher is not better. It needs to be in the right range. Plus, you can't just reduce your body and weight loss to just blood sugar. There's way more to it than that. But fasting causes very unstable blood sugar. This is not good. You want stable blood sugar in the right range. And when that happens, your energy goes up. You have nice constant energy. You burn fat better. You take the food you eat and you use it better instead of storing it as fat. And it makes it much easier to lose weight, and you don't slow down your metabolism. Let's look at the last piece. Number 4, why does fasting cause weight loss in menopause? Well, we have something called a food threshold. Now look, all of us have many different types of thresholds for different things. We have pain thresholds. We have stress thresholds. We have sleep thresholds, heat thresholds, and we have food thresholds. What's a food threshold? Well, let me give you an example. If you take too much vitamin C for your body, and it's over your threshold of what your body can use, you don't use the excess. Anything above the threshold, you pee it out. Well, you have food thresholds that include protein thresholds, carbohydrate thresholds, fat thresholds. So let's say you eat too much protein at one time, or too many carbs at one time, or too many fats at one time. Well, how might this happen? Gee, I don't know. If you're intermittent fasting and you're eating all this food in a compressed window, or maybe you're only eating 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, you're going to have to eat more and you're going to go above your threshold. The body will still digest it, okay? But it really has a hard time processing it. This is actually one of the main causes of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. If you eat too much fat at once, or something like high fructose corn syrup, which is ultra concentrated man-made corn syrup, what happens is the liver has to process all of that, and it can't do it quickly enough. So it starts storing the excess as fat around itself, and that causes non-alcoholic fatty liver. But let's say you eat too much at once. Well, your body's going to digest it. It'll use whatever it needs for the protein. It'll use the carbs that it needs, and it'll use the fats that it needs. Now, anything above your threshold's going to be different than mine. And it might even change as your body changes. Anything above your threshold, the body's going to store it as fat for later. Well, see, here's the difference. See, if you eat correctly, your body never stores fat. You don't put any of that food in your fat store. You're using it. It's going to your muscles, your liver, your brain, your organs, your cells. It's speeding up your metabolism. It's fueling your body. It's cranking up your thyroid. And so it's easy to burn fat. If you're eating wrong and a good portion of that food is now getting put into your fat cells, now you gotta coax it back out of the fat cells, which is much harder. And this is why a lot of people end up having to cut calories to try to get it back out. Well, don't put it there in the first place. And then when you cut calories, you get all these side effects. And then eventually the calorie cutting doesn't work. So you have to do something more drastic like intermittent fasting where you're barely eating anything anymore. And then even that stops working because of all these side effects. So you want to eat more instead. You want to eat more often. You want to break your meals down. You don't want to go over your threshold. By the way, if you eat too much at once, that's also going to spike your blood sugar and insulin. And that's going to cause you to store fat too. If you just never did that, you'd never have the issue. And so this is why when women, especially in menopause, do something like intermittent fasting, it may work initially. And then all of a sudden it stops. And then you might notice your weight slowly creeping up. Or it just won't work at all. It might make things worse. And this is why. There's way better options. Now I'm going to splash up 2 videos to go to that show you the better options, that explain it in detail so we're not here for 3 hours. Go check those out. Go to those lessons. And I will see you over there. I hope this was helpful. Take care.